Hello. It's amazing what people do with technology.
Yeah. What do I have to do to turn it back on?
All right, so I'm just going to save this picture on the scratch drive. Target. Kitten. All right. Okay. Hang in there, kitten. Okay, so because this is the effects class, there's a couple things we need to do. We need to set our playback so that it's play every frame. And we'll max playback speed. We'll clamp that at real time. And we're gonna do this at 30 frames per second. So I'm gonna go to my preferences, settings, 30 frames per second. I don't have to worry about animation. Okay.
No clamps or anything?
No, I'm not worried about that. I'm not actually setting keys on anything.
Oh, okay. So what are you just setting? Just play every frame?
Play every frame and clamp it at set max playback speed to real time.
Doesn't matter how
Did
many
you leave it
frames?
as clef?
Huh?
Did you leave it as clef?
No, it doesn't matter. That's fine. All right, so I'm going to make a flagpole first.
Yeah.
You didn't think this would be a modeling class, but it is.
God, that's too hard.
Okay, there's my flag. And I'm going to zero that out. Naming stuff is important too. Flagpole, okay. I'm gonna freeze my transformations, delete my history. I'm going to, I'm just gonna make this a little bit nicer here. Alright. Where's my channels for this? That's weird. What is wrong? How come I don't have any channels for this? Oh, now I can't even select it. Awesome.
No.
I'm gonna restart my.
Let's see here. Dash.
Bomb, 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 bomb.
Oh, I got another website you probably know of, but I found it yesterday. It's no.com.
No.
15 O's. It's the funniest thing in the world.
Awesome. All right, let's try this again. Bless you. Preferences, 30 frames per second. Save that. Playback every frame, real time. Okay. I'm going to make my flagpole.
Boink.
All right.
Did you ever set this line as mine?
I didn't, but you can do that if you want to. Freeze my transformations, delete my history. Okay, I'm going to make a sphere. Go up, top. Zero that out. Zero that out.
Cool. You shall script this.
You're scripting this, is that what you said?
Hopefully.
All right, now the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little spot for my pulleys to go.
Oh, like.
A little like a little housing for the pulleys, for the rope
Okay.
I'm going to put on there. The pulleys aren't going to actually be functional, they're just going to, it's just implied that there's pulleys at the top of this flagpole. All right.
Wait, what is that? A pulley?
It's the housing for where the pulleys would be. Flagpole top. All right. Freeze transformations. The history. And then this is the housing. Duh.
Yeah.
These transformations. Lead by type history. Okay.
Well, you know that ball is also called truck.
It's what?
It's called truck.
The truck? This one?
Yeah.
That's insanity.
And that is what I should call it.
That's not a truck.
All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to make our ropes first. They're going to go right here. 2 of them, right? Because usually there's a pulley there, and you pull one rope, and it brings the rope up on the other side. This means pulley. Mine class.
Also means rave.
Yeah, if I had glow sticks. All right. I'm going to make another cylinder here that goes the whole height of this flagpole. And in my,
Does it have to completely hide in it? No.
well, you want it to go up there. And the thing is, that thing would be wide enough for the pulley to be in there and the rope. So if that housing isn't wide enough, you're going to want to expand it so that it hides it. All right, so I'm going to just take this and then duplicate it. So I've got 2 ropes. Right? So I'm going to name these inner rope and then outer rope. And I'm going to select both of them and freeze my transformations and delete my history. Now the reason that I'm doing that, deleting the history, is because Maya remembers everything that you did to these. So if you wanted to go back later and add more divisions, you can. But the problem is once you start to add cloth to it and everything, it starts to get really heavy and when it tries to remember all that stuff. And it's a really good way to crash Maya, is to have like a big history list that you don't need. So I try to delete history when I can, once I know that it's what I need. All right, so nCloth. Is everybody okay up to this point?
How do you make a cylinder?
I've had people ask that before, actually.
Really
I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding.
Wow.
All right, let me save this while I'm thinking about it. Save scene as. Flag whip. Work in progress. Oh. All right. So basically, your end dynamics tab, we were up in here for the liquid stuff we did, right? So the cloth stuff is in the same area. Actually, you know, let's make the flag too while I'm thinking about it. Just going to go to my front view here. And I'm going to make a plane that is roughly flag size, something like that probably. It's good. I'm going to call this flag.
Would you name each rope in?
I just have rope inner and rope outer. Now your flag, you're going to want to make sure that you have that subdivided pretty well too. Because your cloth is only going to bend where it has resolution. So if you think of it as like a character model, if you want your arm on your character to bend, you need enough division in there so that it'll bend smoothly. If you want this nice smooth cloth, you're going to need a lot of division in there. And who doesn't want nice smooth cloth, right?
Made out of a plane, right?
Yes. So once I get this to kind of how I want it, I'm going to position it so that the top of it lines up with a division in the rope. So that when I start to combine these or constrain these, it'll work good. Now the other thing is I want to make sure that my flag is not inside of my rope. Like I don't want that, right? I don't want this. I don't want this. I want it just outside the rope like that. Right? And I'm going to select my flag. Yep.
The subdivision height and width has to be the same.
No, they don't have to be the same. You just want to have enough division so that it'll flex nicely. Yeah, we can probably go a few less on the height. So you get squares. All right. Now what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to go to my polygons tab, mesh, triangulate, and then I'm going to go to my normals and soften the edges. And then I'm going to delete my history on the flag, and I'm going to freeze the transformations on the flag. So I should have a flag that's all zeroed out and it's triangulated.
What did you do with the normals?
Soften them. So the reason you do that is so that if you see a spot where you get a sharp bend in it, you're not going to get like a weird crease. It'll be a nice smooth bend.
Does it soften edges?
Normals, soften edge, yeah. Now I'm also going to make a shader for this flag. And this is just going to be my kitty poster that I downloaded. Find my file, my computer, kitty. Oh, that's the wrong kitty, but that's cute too. And I'm going to adjust my UV so that my whole kitten is on the...
Can you put the pattern on at any time? Or?
Yeah. It's a little easier to see at this point, but... Alright, UVs.
Did you use a Lambert?
I did. Alright, so there's my flag. My beautiful kitten, encouraging me to stick it out through the end of the quarter, and encouraging all of you to get the best grades possible and be the best you can be. Aww. And those blue eyes can see into your soul. Okay. So this is where I'm at with everything. I want to set my timeline up, so I start on frame 1 and I go to frame 150. That'll give me 5 seconds of flag awesomeness.
Wait a minute.
What?
Is it 50?
What?
150. Okay, so we're going to start to make this cloth. And it's going to get real awesome real fast. Ready?
Go.
Oh boy.
Alright, here I go. I'm going to select rope first and say N Dynamics, N Mesh, create nCloth. I'm going to go to the little option box. So what I want to do in here is I'm going to keep this at the defaults. So when I make this, it's going to create a new solver. So what this is it's, remember that N nucleus, the nucleus solver from when we did the fluid? It's going to make one of those here. So any dynamics that we do will get added to this new solver. But right now there's no solver in the scene. So by default it wants to create a new solver. So I'm going to say create cloth.
What did you go do?
I'm going to do it again right here. So now I select my second object, go to nMesh, create nCloth, and I'm going to go to the option box. Now you see it says solver nucleus 1. That's so that it will add this cloth into the same universe as this cloth. If you choose a different solver, these two won't interact at all. They'll pass right through each other no matter what you do. They have to be in the same solver to work correctly. So we want to put this, and this all in the same solver. Right?
Okay.
So I'm going to say create cloth, and then I'm going to select my flag. I'm going to say nMesh create nCloth. It's in the same solver. Okay, create cloth. Bless you. So now, if I hit play, watch what happens. The kitten surrenders. Nothing happens. It just drifts off into nothingness. Now you see it catches the wind a little bit and it starts to deform. My ropes are all shredded and my flag is now falling away. Alright. We don't want that to happen. We want this flag to fly proudly. Right? Alright, so what we need to do is we need to nail these down a little bit so they don't fly away. So how do you do that? Well, you make constraints. Well, you don't make regular constraints, you make N constraints.
Did you parent
Make N constraints.
I didn't parent it to, no. It's just sitting there in space. All right, so what we need to do is we're going to go into X-ray here, right? And I'm going to select some points. I'm going to select the top ring, and the bottom ring. Right? And then I'm going to go to nConstraint transform. And we're going to roll out. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to just create constraint. You guys are a bunch of nerds. All right. Create constraint. I'll show you again in a second. All right, so in my outliner, I've got everything named correctly. I've got nCloth 1, nCloth 2, and nCloth 3. That's the inner rope, outer rope, and flag, because I did them in that order. Dynamic constraint, I'm going to change this name to, at the end of it, I'm going to put underscore inner rope, so I know which one that goes to. So now when I hit play, that other rope's going to fall and the flag's going to fall, but that rope is not going to fall because it's tied to the flagpole now. Right? So how I did that was you select, I'm going to do the second one now. Select your rope, go to your component editor. Whoops. Select your top ring of verts and your bottom ring of verts. And you're going to go nConstraint transform. And I'm going to rename that one too, my outliner. Outer rope. And the reason I'm naming these is because you might find later that you're having problems or you want to turn one of the constraints on or off or you need to delete one of them. You don't want to have to guess once everything's working right if you want to change just one thing and blow away the wrong thing and break everything. So that's why I named those. So I'm going to hit save. So now if I play this, the ropes stay, but the flag doesn't. Right? Awesome. Because we didn't put anything on the flag. We didn't put any kind of constraints on the flag. So just to show you what this can do, I'm going to select just a couple verts on this. Don't do this to yours. I'm just doing this to this one. I'm going to select those verts there and say nConstraint transform. And when I hit play, that flag will fall except for where it's attached.
Oh, hang in there.
It's hanging. So you set up your constraints in such a way that they mimic real life. So the rope, in real life, there's a pulley that would be up here. So the rope can't move from up here. And down here it would be tied off to the bottom of the flagpole or something. So the bottom and the top wouldn't move. This flag, we can't use this constraint here because if we do, it won't flex like the ropes do, or will. So let me do this. Let me get rid of that constraint. It was this dynamic constraint 3. I'll just delete that. Go back to the beginning. I'm going to add a different kind of constraint for this now. I'm going to select my rope and then shift select my flag. And you see I'm in this component editor, right? So everything shows up with points. You see how to get to there, right? You go here to component mode, right?
Okay.
Select your flag, your outer rope, and then shift select your flag. And I'm going to pick all of these points. It's probably easier to do from the front view. I'm going to pick all of the points on the rope and on that outer edge of the flag. So I've got this extreme left edge of the flag mesh, and I've got all of the verts on this rope.
In that same region.
In the same region, yes. And I'm going to go to nConstraint. This time we're going to use component to component. And I'm just going to create the constraint. Now what that does is, where the transform component kept these locked down in space, where I can't reach up here, this will allow these to move in space but keep these components together. So it creates like a spring system in there. So I don't know if any of you are familiar with spring systems, but basically it's like, if you can imagine a bunch of springs. One side of the spring is attached to this, one side of the spring is attached to this. They try to stay together because of the spring. There's a little bit of flex in there, so they'll separate and come together. And you have control over how tight or loose that spring is. So you can either let it stretch out really far, or you can have it very tight and taut so that it hardly moves. But they'll stay together.
So what did you do after you selected all the words?
I went to nConstraint, component to component. So my outliner, I'm going to just name this dynamic constraint 3 because it doesn't really tell you a whole lot of information, what kind of constraint it is or whatever. And I'm going to call this flag to rope.
Couldn't, Floyd?
Yep.
Couldn't you just constrain it at the top of the flag and at the bottom? So
You could.
middle part?
And then that way you've got just the top of the flag and bottom of the flag. You could do that. So now if I hit play, you'll see that the, actually let me hit save first and then I'll hit play. So you see what happens now? The flag is pulling on the rope, and the rope is reacting to the flag too, because the flag will collide with the rope. However, you see it cuts right into my flagpole.
Or does it?
Oh, shit, yeah.
It does cut into my flagpole. It's dodging off the rope. You can see that there. So what I need to do is take my flagpole, just select the mesh of the flagpole, and I'm going to say nMesh create passive collider. And what that'll do is if the flag does for any chance or for any reason come back and hit this flagpole, it'll keep it out of all of this. So this doesn't correspond to the cloth, it corresponds to the solver. So now this won't go into the flagpole, it just wraps around it. See that? So this works the same way as if you're doing a character or something. Your character mesh would be
The
passive
cl-
collider.
Okay.
And then you would have your
Everything
your
else.
mesh just
Okay.
yeah. Okay, so how do we make this look better than it does?
Add
when?
a field?
We could add fields, yes. We can also add, in the nucleus, there's a lot of this stuff built in. So I can add some wind, and I can add some noise to the wind.
What do you have selected?
Yeah.
In my outliner right here, I selected the nCloth, any of them, and then you click on the Nucleus 1 tab. Because the Nucleus 1 is what's driving this stuff. The nucleus is like the brain behind it. So you're basically telling the brain, okay, now imagine there's wind. And don't be afraid of these values, you can't break wind.
What if our rope like will flatten and bend out?
What if it goes flat and bends out?
Like it's flat, like as it animates, it's flat. It gets stretched out.
I don't know, I have to look at it and see what's going on. I'm going to change my wind speed to like 20. I'll take a look at that in a second, Mike.
Rope's being a little flexy.
We're going to adjust that next. But that's basically what we're doing. So now it's just fine-tuning settings so we get a decent hanging there kitten flag and not just some CG piece of mush. Okay.
Alright, so.
Yeah.
You could delete the other one.
That would work too. All right. So what we need to do with this is we're going to need to add some stuff to the cloth so that it behaves like cloth and not rubber. So what we want to do is adjust the stiffness so that the ropes behave differently than the cloth of the flag. So I'm going to go back to the beginning here. And I'm going to select, remember we did it in this order. There's nCloth 1 and nCloth 2 is this rope. nCloth 3 is my flag. So I'm going to adjust nCloth 1.
And cloth one is the whole rope?
Is the rope that's on the inside here. So I'm just going to go down here and find, there's a lot of settings on cloth. You see all these settings? You can animate all of these. A lot of these you may never use, ever. Never, ever, ever. But some you'll use all the time. So I'm going to go into my resistances here. Stretch resistance, that's how much it resists stretching. And compression resistance is how much it resists compression. So I'm going to go to the stretch resistance, and I'm going to say like 80 on that. Let's see what that looks like.
What do you find?
I just did it to this inner rope right here.
Okay.
So I'm going to do that to the other rope too. Stretch resistance.
Right there.
Yes, 80. Would I have that set to? But what that'll do is it'll keep your geometry. You want your geometry to have the same mass the whole time, right? You don't want it to, like, as soon as the wind hits it, like pull it out like taffy, which can happen. So if I take this flag right here, which was nCloth 3, and I go to stretch resistance and I change this to like 0.1.
Oh, gosh.
Oh god.
Ooh.
Looks like that looks like
Oh,
Taffy
wow.
cat.
It's melting.
So
That could be a
trippy,
really,
man.
that could be a really cool special effect though.
You can animate this, so I can crank this up to like 50 now. And probably crash Maya. Let's see what happens.
a no.
Let me save it first. It's okay. The cat will be alright. It's a fake cat. Alright. Wow, wow, wow. Sproing, back it goes.
Wow.
Wow.
And the machine didn't even smoke.
Maya hates that though.
Now.
Alright, I'm gonna go back to the beginning here. Just check it. So I have my stretch resistance set to 50. That doesn't affect how like fluid my motion is. It just affects how much that stretches. So what I can do is I can go back into this and let's see, where is it? I go to thickness and change this if I wanted to. So I can change my thickness to like 5. Now my flag should behave much differently. Oh, it didn't like that at all. Hold on. How about a thickness of 1?
Walk slower.
So if you're doing like burlap, right, you're gonna have pretty thick cloth. And you see it affects quite a bit. Like I'm not getting those nice tight bends in it anymore like I had. I'm getting more just like stiff cloth.
Like a rug.
Yeah. So maybe my thickness I should go like 0.2.
Maybe
What if when I do
0.5?
blow, it's still stretching?
Well, you have to start adjusting your stretch resistance and stuff. Depending on how big you modeled your flag, you might be trying to simulate like a bedspread or postage stamp. You know what I mean? It depends on how you have your scale set up. All right, so that's pretty decent, I think. I'm going to go into my rope nCloth and thicken those up. I'm going to say 0.1 for the ropes. And for my flag, I'm going to change my thickness to 0.05. So that should give me stiffer ropes, but a nice fluid flag.
What were your ropes at?
0.1. All right, does anybody have any questions so far?
I'll have to wait for the video. Because I missed the first part.
What?
Sorry.
Okay, so there's some cool things you can do with cloth. First thing I can do is I can select my rope and this flag and say nSolver initial state set from current. Wait. Yes.
What was it?
It's in 2 different places depending on what you're doing. It's select your cloth and say nSolver initial state set from current when you find a pose that you like. So now when I go back to my first frame,
Do we have to select just the flag or?
you select whatever you want to have in your initial state. So I selected the flag and then both ropes. Otherwise, your rope's going to be in the wrong spot and it's going to snap. So let's say we're doing a film about the Civil War and we want to have a cannonball smash through that flag. So I'm going to make a sphere here. I'm going to line it up with my flag. And I'm going to set a key here. And then on frame 30, I'll move this over here. So let's see what happens when I play this. Boom, nothing happens because we didn't make this a collider. So I just lost my monitor.
Selected.
Let's back again. Are you wiggling your feet?
Okay.
No.
You select the actual shape.
All right, so I'm going to select my mesh here and say create passive collider on my cannonball. I'm going to rename this cannonball.
I think you say
cannibal.
or cannibal.
Like, we're gonna throw a cannibal.
So now when this goes through the flag, watch what happens.
Oh my god!
Now,
No way.
does anybody, as I hit puberty in front of everyone, does anybody know why this happened?
Because he doesn't have birds?
Because it tried to pull it.
That's why
Because it's not breakable. Is the cloth not
Trying
breakable?
to stretch it.
It's trying to stretch it, and there's not enough resolution, and it's happening in a quick amount of time, and all that stuff.
Correct.
So it tries to solve, and it freaks out a little bit. You can see it does what it can, but that ball hits it really fast. So,
Oh my god!
yes.
Yes, Lee.
If I take this and slow it down, it'll behave differently. No, kitty, watch out!
Right away. Meow.
Right in your kitty face.
Oh.
I see that worked much better. So sometimes you gotta give it a little time to think, right? If it's too sudden, if it's too sudden, Maya freaks out, and it'll crash, or it'll give you results that you don't like. So there's a couple different things you can do to get around it. You can slow down your action and then speed it up in post, which that's a lame way to fix it, but sometimes that works best. Or you can add sub-steps to the evaluation so that Maya will look at sub-frame increments and calculate a little more accurately. So if I play this, let me do a play blast of this, because you can't really tell by the viewport what's happening. I'm just going to save this somewhere. Here it comes. Smile, kitty.
That was
Thank you, Evan.
Wow, I thought Lindsay was the only sound effects person.
I've worn off. My job is done.
Where are you, Play Blast?
Alvin probably
there
scared
it
it
is.
off. It's awesome stuff.
Flag.
I has flag.
Finish.
I don't know why my flag broke something.
That's so lit.
Okay, but let's say you don't want that to happen. You want the flag to be obliterated by the cannonball. Because who wouldn't want to see that, right?
Exploding flag.
There is a way to do that that is very easy in Maya. So we're going to open up the flag file and figure out where the cannonball is going to hit, which is right around here, right?
Really quick, how are we able to leave the flag as
Kitty headshot.
is,
Oh.
in a state of a...
I selected it and then I went to nSolver initial state set from current.
Oh,
And then when I went back to the beginning, it was already blown out like that. All right, so what I'm going to do here is obliterate this cat. Because why not, right? I'm going to go to my component editor here, and I'm going to select some verts like this. Right there. I'm going to go to nConstraint, terrible surface.
Ooh.
So many people have terrible projects. This is kind of similar. Create a constraint. Now you see that blew away my initial state. And it also screwed up my ropes here. See that? So, but this shows you a very good example here. This is the spring system where it's around here and it's trying to use this, but because this blew away my initial state, watch what happens when I play it. It looks stupid. So what I need to do is go in here, select this, and say initial state clear initial state. And I'm going to let this play up until the point right before the... Oh, it's still freaked out. It's freaking out, man. It's like bees. Okay, I need to get rid of this one constraint that I made, which is flagged rope. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to rebuild that. So I'm going to select this, then this, then this. Select my verts, and then say end constraint component to component. This one is a terrible surface. I'm going to call this terrible surface or surfac. It's like Tupac, but it's surfac instead. And this is the flag to rope. What are you even talking about? Okay, ready? Beautiful. I'm going to let this go a little bit. So beautiful. Okay, I'm going to select my stuff here to set an initial state again. And so over initial state, set from current. Go back. Okay, ready? We're going to blow that cat out of the sky.
Oh, God.
Go. So with any luck, the flag will tear right along the surface where that cat is, or where we made this terrible surface. Boom. Yank.
Wow. That was terrible.
So if you wanted to do like just a whole,
Then you'd select the verts in a hole.
Okay.
Yeah. So it tore off a little strip here, like this little dangly bit that'll keep going. And this all reacts on its own, so it's its own thing. So if you have a piece that tears off, it's not constrained to anything anymore. It's going to just fly away with whatever you've got set up. So we've got.
Through itself?
What's that?
Is the flag going through itself?
It is a little bit. Something broke.
How
Um,
would you fix that?
I'd have to go back and do it and see what's breaking and fix it. So I just tore that piece off right there. So let's see why this is going inside of itself. It may just be an illusion. Is it an illusion? No, it is going inside of itself. You are correct, madam.
Yay!
It's right there too, yuck. You know what? It's this weird constraint, this terrible surface.
Oh, it's the constraint.
Terrible.
It is terrible. Okay, oh, you know what? There's weird stuff on this. You hit undo a whole bunch of times. Let me get initial state off of this. Initial state, clear initial state, okay. nCloth. Oh, it was after we made the terrible surface. This is where we got that problem. Okay, so I'm going to just select some of these verts. Oh, you said you just want to see a hole in it, right?
yeah.
I'm just going to select these verts in the center. Let me turn the picture off so you can see it. Can you see which ones I selected? So I've got a border of pink up here, border of pink down here, and all around. Okay. End constraint, terrible surface. You know what? It's probably in here because you can set up the strength and everything. So that's probably what broke the surface before. Yeah, because I've got this merge vert thing and this polysoft edge thing now, which I didn't have before. All right, so I'm going to play this. Let's see what happens. With any luck, the cannonball will shoot right through the center.
Nope.
Son of a... Wow.
I really liked that one.
I laugh at your failure. Okay. I think
It's too...
what I need is more wind. Let's go to hurricane force. See what
Got a
happens. 150.
fever.
Oh, God.
And the only
Wind noise.
prescription
5.
is more wind.
Okay.
Fly away, hole. Watch me miss it completely. Go for it. If I make this, that's awesome.
2 points, come on, 2 points.
Can do it. Hey! Arc dynamics fun. All right, so does anybody have any questions on terrible surface or transforming constraints or component to component? For next week, what you need to do is the flag with the 2 ropes. You can do the terrible surface if you want to, but you don't have to.
Sweet.
But I want to see some kind of wind, right? Let me write this down. I'll write this down so you guys can write it down, and then you'll be sure to have the right thing. Okay, 150 frames, right? 2 ropes, 1 cup. No, I'm just kidding. 2. Whoa. 1 flag.
Oh dear.
1 flag. Okay, 150 frames, 2 ropes, 1 flag. Transform constraints. Constraints and component to component. And you want to have an initial state with some wind on it. Anything you do above and beyond this is on you. If you want to do the terrible constraint, or the terrible surface constraint, and make it rip apart, that would be awesome. If not, that's fine too. I'm going to show you some other cool nCloth stuff that's not for homework, but it's cool to know anyway. All right? It's your initial state. I don't know if that got rid of the terrible surface or not. Okay. Let me undo it a few times. Alright. Okay, good, it's gone. Alright. Oh, but now that's gone too. What is going on? There we go. So you see I had to keep going back to the beginning of this cycle to actually see any result. You're going to have to do the same thing. Alright, so to get the initial state, what I did is I let this play until it got to a spot where I kind of liked what it looked like. So let's say that's our initial state.
That's dramatic.
What's that?
You have the wind already in.
Yeah, so how you do the wind is you have your cloth selected, and you go to your nucleus 1, and then you've got wind speed and stuff. By default, it's 0. So I set the wind speed at like 20, and give it some wind noise. That'll give you the flap. If you don't have wind noise, it's just going to blow in a direction. Like if I take this wind noise off of here, it's just going to blow boring. Right? That's boring. It's going to have a little bit of noise to it.
Good.
What?
You have to set the direction
Wow.
to crumple.
That's super not boring now.
Okay, fine. 10.
Woohoo.
A little bit. Alright, fine. 5. You gotta take chances in life. I went with 25. I thought that would be a good number.
What's stickiness?
It's how much stuff sticks to it.
Yeah.
It's like friction if you're gonna have stuff collide with it.
Yes.
Miss. I'm not sure why it is falling into itself now. You know what? I may need to add thickness to this flag. I bet you that's it. That's probably the problem.
Adding thickness.
0.1.
Oh, go to the nCloth shape. So.
Yes.
Delete that.
Here it comes.
Didn't you do like 2 or
We win!
a...
I can do this though. I can just take this and move my.
Wow, it's super low when you have that much thickness.
There. Now it can't get away. Oh, a little lower. All right.
Dune flag.
Oh, make an object collide with it. That's what I was going to say too.
Oh,
So write that down too. Object collide with it.
With the flag?
Yeah, with the flag.
So you like,
It doesn't have to do something that dramatic, but something like that. All right?
an object other than the flagpole?
Yeah. But it's done the exact same way. All right, does anybody have any questions about the flag or what you need to do for next week? Anybody ever play Mousetrap?
yeah.
That's what we're going to do tonight. I'll make a new scene. I'm going to go to frame 150. I'm going to make a floor. I'm going to call this.
How did you adjust the thickness?
On the nCloth, there's a value called thickness. So on the nCloth for that object, there's a thing called thickness. I just increased that. All right, so I'm going to make something cool here. Oh, Maya's acting like an idiot. Quit being an idiot. Like I deselected it. What's up, Maya? Restart. Don't save. I saved though. I saved before I did that. Wait. Yeah, that's right. All right, so you can use this on other things. So let's see if there's a cool piece of geometry I can use. Oh, I know. Let me do this. Let me open up. I'm going to open up this Tonga rig. He's a little fox. And he's so cute.
He's so complicated.
See him? He's so cute.
Mousetraps.
I'm going to open up his geometry here. Yes. Everyone's favorite. Body geo is what I want. I'm going to edit, duplicate this, unparent that. Okay. Tonga geo. I'm going to export that selection. Tonga geo. I'm making a new scene.
You didn't export his eyes. That's kind of
I know. I just needed something that I could
It's
mess with.
it's a fox. He
Tonga
sheds,
geo.
right?
Open. All right.
Foxes shed.
So there's a fox with no eyes. You're giving us nightmares. Okay.
Can't sleep, fox will eat me. Can't sleep, fox will eat me.
Thank you, Floyd.
This is wrong.
Oh, I need to unlock this too.
Nobody ever watched The Simpsons?
I did when I was in 8th grade when they first came out. That's how long ago it was.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I don't want to use this. I'm just going to use something simpler. I have to do too much of that geometry to make it work. Okay, I'm going to make an egg. Okay, there's my egg.
Egg.
Okay, so here's my egg. I'm going to scale it down a little bit. Okay, bring it up here. Okay, I'm going to freeze my transformations and delete my history. And I'm going to make a floor. I call this floor. I'm going to call this egg. Okay. I don't want this egg to fall on the ground and bounce. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this. I'm going to say nMesh, create nCloth. And I'm going to select the floor and say nMesh, create passive collider. And then I'm going to bring this up to 150. Change my settings to 30 frames per second just because I like 30 frames per second. Okay, ready? Go.
Wow.
Okay, so what happened is it took that geometry and it just, there's nothing inside of it. So it doesn't know anything about air or anything like that unless you tell it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend my timeline here so we can mess around with this a little bit. So here's my cloth shape, right? I've got this pressure setting in here. Right now it's set to 0, right? I can animate this value. So I'm going to go up to here, frame 202 maybe, and change this pressure to 2. I'm going to key that. So now I'm going to play this. So it's going to fall just like it did before, and then the pressure is going to increase inside of it.
Nice.
Safe.
So there's no pressure inside of it, it collapses. And then I took the pressure and I cranked it up. So you can do bouncy houses, you can do all kinds of cool stuff. You could do a character, do ragdoll physics with it, really easy. I'm going to go into this, I'm going to get rid of that pressure setting. Delete selected. Now you see, if I leave this at 2, when I start it, it's going to go thump. It increases a little bit. You can crank this way up.
Oh boy.
But you should save it before you do that. Pressure, let's say
9,000.
25.
You flipped it.
Yeah.
Cheating bouncy ball animation.
Yeah, but look, it slides all over the place. Alright, so let's change this pressure back to, let's just make it 1.
Change that initial. Change that initial pop. Could you set the initial state to after it inflates?
Yep.
Get that fixated.
Yep. Alright, so you can also do stuff where you can
Oh dear.
What's gonna happen?
Go extreme.
Passive collision.
Oh my gosh. Obstacle course.
I'm going to make this nMesh as well. Create nCloth.
Oh.
Ready? Go!
Okay.
Oh, failure because it wasn't at the start frame. What are you guys making? Okay. So I can take this and I can crank up the pressure on this. Which, because the shape of it is going to look kind of funny. So if I change pressure to 5.
Oh boy.
Wow. Wow. It's a beanbag.
That's beautiful. Oh my gosh.
So let's crank this up even higher. Let's see what happens when we do
Yeah.
50.
50. Okay, 50.
Save it.
Stratified.
Wah. Hey.
Oh no.
Okay, now I can also take this. I can take this value and I can change this stretch resistance and stuff. I can change this to like 1
Oh no.
and 1.
Save it. Save it first.
Save.
Wah.
Oh.
Man.
And here's the sphere.
Here's the egg.
Doing what I can. All right, I need to change my pressure from 50 to like 1.
Yeah.
Oh, so gross.
It's like a turd.
So gross.
A very.
And then you can put an appropriate shader on it.
He's going to do it.
You know, whatever color you like. Maybe something like this.
Really?
Put some noise in there.
Oh,
I don't think it's about to make
oh,
it.
that's nasty.
Oh.
You render it. Oh.
Yeah.
You guys asked. You guys asked.
Who asked?
I thought I heard someone ask. Okay, maybe they didn't. All right. So let's say we want to do something even cooler with this. Let's say we want to. No, I'm not. I'm getting rid of this. I'm not done. Okay. This over here. This over here. I'm going to try to get it through the hoop. So for now, I'm just going to take this hoop and
From a hoop to a hoop.
pass the collider. Oh, Maya's acting really strange again.
Oh no.
I'm going to hit save, restart Maya. It didn't like that whole bit with the cylinder. It's a display issue it's having.
At the same time.
Because it's still doing it, it's just not displaying correctly. It doesn't like this setup that they've got here. I don't like it either.
Did you watch this?
One Star Wars fan. I don't like it either. You ever see the robot chicken where they? You ever see the robot chicken where they followed that guy like through the day? He's like an architect.
He's like, I didn't say that
It's
at
like
all.
that's not what I said. Yeah, and he gets his hand cut off. He has to try to learn how to draw
keep your
something.
job without your drawing arm.
Recent files. Where are you? Oh, nowhere. Good thing that option's in there. All right. I think it was Tonga Geo. Yes. Ready? Play. Yay!
We should go back through it.
The lopsided.
Twat. Yay!
So slippery.
Yeah. Oh, oh,
Oh, Egbert, no.
Now, there's stuff on here where I can add forces to this. Forces. I can add friction. Like friction of 1. Wait. I can also crank up stickiness.
Wow.
Well, Zach.
Oh, it's stuck. Like a
It's
fly.
like Velcro.
Yeah.
Get over here. Yeah. All right. Any questions about forces? It's fun if you have a decent machine and you save often to just screw around with this stuff because it's so fun. All right. So here's the other thing I'm going to do. I'm going to make a new scene. I'm not going to save those. Create a plane. Oh, it's acting weird again. Oh, there we go. Zero that out. I'm going to call this floor. And I'm going to make another plane. Actually, I'm just going to duplicate this one because I'm lazy. All right, 90 degrees. Bring this up. Scale it down. All right. Down a little bit. I'm going to, where is my, I didn't delete the history on it, did I? Where is it?
Doesn't it delete it when you duplicate it?
Oh, maybe it did. Okay.
When you make a duplicate, it doesn't keep the input thing.
Oh, Maya's acting stupid today. Okay,
You want to restart the computer?
I might have to. I'm gonna try to avoid it if I can, because I just want to keep going, because I'm crazy. All right, I'm like a honey badger.
Yeah.
Funny guy.
Oh dear.
All right, I'm going to make this nCloth,
Mushroom.
create nCloth. I'm going to select the top row of verts. Actually, no, I'm not. Yes, I am.
Just kidding.
Gotcha. Transform constraint. I'm gonna give myself a whole bunch of frames here.
Roll.
Oh, huh. Hold on. I forgot to do something. Nucleus, wind speed, let's say 3. Wind direction, let's give it a little bit of Z as well.
3,000.
That's not 9,000.
What is going on?
Did you not make it?
What's the wind speed?
It's nCloth.
Uh-oh.
What the hey? Let me get rid of this constraint too. Wow.
Yay,
Mine is running horrible. I'm going to restart this machine.
It said the max playback speed was free.
In the meantime,
It should still work.
It should still work.
All right, now is a good time to go on break. Any questions about what we need to do for next week?
How to make a plane.
When we come back, I'm going to make cloth, and I'm going to make nParticles like we do with the liquid, and I'm going to splash it on the flag, and the flag will react.
Cool.
nSolver initial state set from current. All right, so what I want to do is I want to make a particle emitter that will interact with this flag. So with my n dynamic still there, I'm going to create nParticles, create emitter. And I'm going to call this water shooter. Directional, so I want it to shoot in a direction. Let's give it a speed of 10. That looks good. Create that. Move this over here. Oh, you know what? I messed up. When I create my nParticles, I want to make sure that I'm making water. All right. Water shooter 10 directional. Okay, cool. So now, because these are nParticles, they're in the same. They use the same kind of solver as the cloth does. So when these particles shoot out, they will interact with. Well, they're interacting with themselves too, so that's a little weird. Let me change the speed on these. So the speed is here. Let's change this to like 20. Then I can change my rate to like 10. So I only shoot out a few. So you see them ricocheting off.
Superfly.
Oh.
If I take my emitter and I move it over here to a spot where there's a little less resistance. This is hitting the flag and not going through it.
That's cool.
And the flag reacts to the water too. So if I took this and I cut back the wind, of course now it's okay. Time out, guys. But you can see it deforming the cloth a little bit too, right?
You can change the picture too, right?
Yeah, you can change all the properties of the flag as well. So if you change the thickness, it'll react a little more to the water. I can also change the speed of that too, of that water.
Still look good.
See if we can see from this side what's going on. You see the dents a little bit? Yeah. But you see what's happening there, right? It's colliding with the cloth. Yes. Try this again. Make a floor. Wait for just a second. Okay. 1,000. Oh, it's starting its crap again. Where nothing's showing up over here. Awesome. Mesh control. I can't function when this doesn't cooperate. Let me try to change the resolution of the monitors if that helps. Probably won't, but it might.
What's usually happening if our rope is like folding in on itself?
You probably need to mess with your thickness.
On the rope?
Yes. Or your stretch resistance. Maybe crank that up a little bit.
Where's that?
It's on the cloth on the rope. Alright, let me try this. Nope, that didn't help. Sometimes it's selected, sometimes it isn't. Awesome.
Up there.
Maya is not running well this evening, folks.
Howie.
That makes me crazy. Let me try one more time. Alright, make a plane. Zero that out. Make a cue. Oh, that'll work. Alright, I'm going to take this, bring it up here a little bit, and mesh create nCloth. Let me get the pen out of my mouth so you can hear me. Okay. And mesh create passive collider for the floor. If I hit play, alright, let me adjust that a little bit. Awesome. So that's like a pillow.
Would it still work if you have an opening on the top? Say like it looks like a bag, like a.
So it looks like a bag? It depends. It might all just blow out the top. You probably have to adjust your settings. nParticles, create nParticles water, create emitter.
Wow.
Oh, it's pushing the bag. There it goes.
Cool.
Gonna go off the edge. It's cool how it like squirts out the bottom there. Okay. So you can see how fun this stuff is, mess around with when the computer works correctly. So now let's take this and I'm going to relieve some of the pressure here. 0.25. I'm going to say 0.5 for the start pressure. But maybe I want this to stay still on the top. I'm going to go to end constraint transform. So now the top of that won't move. Let's spray it faster. Speed 50.
Like a shower curtain.
Ooh,
Yep,
you can
kinda.
break it off. You can tear.
You can make it a terrible surface. We could.
Sweet.
So you can see kind of how powerful this stuff is. You know, you can use a lot of this to make cool stuff. So you can do a car wash. This could be like the brushes that hit it. You know, you can just take something and shake it, and that would make the brushes. Right? Let me do this. Let's go like this. We get rid of this dynamic constraint, and let me. Oops. So I'm going to take this thing and I'm going to shake it around a little bit. Cycle. So this thing's going to shake back and forth. I'm going to take this and then shift select this, select these, and say end constraint component to component. See what happens there. Wah, wah, wah. So you see how this is like wiggling? It's kind of cool actually to see it arc off into the distance. So what I can do is on this constraint that I made, you've got all these things here, right? These all do things. Let me These things do things. How's that for an explanation? Right now there's a strength at 20. I can crank this up to like 80. And it'll be a little bit stronger. Let's see. Bend strength. Let's crank that up as well.
What's the bend strength?
Oh, you can also do weld, and that'll just keep it right where. Let's see. So I'm just messing with some of the settings on here to get different results. It's spring by default. Starting to get hung up on the surface there. The fluid is pushing it and wrapping it around itself. You can see how you could do like clothes on a clothesline, or like the latest 3D movie. Whoa! 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 Whoa!
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah. 3D is
Has a
fun, is the
seizure.
moral of tonight's class.
3D is fun.
So all that used was the same type of particles that we used when we did the liquid stuff earlier in the quarter, right? And now the cloth stuff. And because they're both use the nucleus solver, they can interact. You couldn't do that before with regular particles in Maya. To do this even like 3 years ago was almost impossible. It would take way longer than just what we did here. So, are there any questions about nParticles or nCloth or anything else? I just did that one now. I'm like ad-libbing up here. I can't remember what it's called. Not ad-libbing, improvising.
3D visual effects and improv.
That's right, all on the same night. Top that. All right. Any questions about what you need to do for next week? You need to do that for next week. If you have applied UVs to your model or something, and you put a texture on it after you put the cloth on it, you'll notice that your cloth now slides around and the UVs don't move with it. It's because the order of input is very important for geometry. So because it got the cloth order before the UVs, it does the cloth first and then the UVs second, so your stuff slides around. So what you need to do is either change the order of input, which I'm not really sure how that would work with cloth, or start over and do your texture first.
So add the texture in the plane first.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Because then after that you can tweak it, right?
Right.
Like you can't resize the...
Right. Because it's based on the surface. Oh, you're going to have a texture on it too. So you got to have a texture of some kind on the flag as well. I forgot to write that on there. Everybody get that?